This is Paul Majors, Pat Miles, Jeff Passel, and meteorologist Paul Douglas. And this is KARE 11 News at 6.
And I have just seen in the classroom, Ray the computer, what Minnesota has seen on the ice. I think we saw a lot of Bellows, a lot of Gagnons, a lot of John Casey's in the classroom.
He may not have pronounced the names of all the North Stars correctly, but hey, the president used the team as an example of Minnesota determination to be #1 on the ice and in education. Good evening. The education president meets the education state.
Mr. Bush seemed genuinely impressed after making a visit to the Saturn School of Tomorrow in St. Paul this afternoon. It was April 19th when the president gave the Saturn School national recognition for its innovation and its approach to learning. He talked about the school as part of his $690 million education program. The president landed at Twin Cities International just before 11:30 this morning. Mr. Bush had been looking pale and tired the last few days because of his thyroid problems, but appeared bright and energetic today. His motorcade then traveled from the airport to the school in downtown St. Paul. On the way, protesters threw an egg at the president's limo. Secret Service agents and local police wrestled with several protesters and arrested 3 of them on the spot.
The protest didn't stop there. KARE 11's Brad Woodard says the president took some heat during his speech, but loved his tour of the school.
How you going? Nice to see you. What was that?
Mr. President, welcome to Saturn School.
Hey, listen, I'm glad to be here.
If you'd like to
Is
have
the
a seat.
teacher's chair or the learner's chair? I want to sit in the learner's chair.
Saturn students are used to seeing visitors pass through their school. After all, it's different here. But the president isn't just any visitor. Once the ice was broken, though, they had more in common than you might think.
I'm just starting to learn, and I'm into keyboarding on all these different shift keys and stuff.
Bush and Education Secretary Lamar Alexander got a first-hand look at the advanced technology used by the students as they progress at their own rate. The president even posed questions to the students through an elaborate computer discourse system. The students had no problem responding through their keyboards, but one of them could use a little help with the spelling. Spending more time at the school than expected, the president's motorcade then sped 2 blocks west to the public library in downtown St. Paul.
Minnesota is out front. It is the wave of the future, and you are to be congratulated.
Not everyone gave Bush a warm reception. Halfway through his speech, he was interrupted by the shouts of protesters.
Isn't it wonderful about democracy? They have a right to speak, and I think I have a right to be heard.
And he was heard. The jeering eventually subsided, and the president ceremoniously concluded by signing his initiative. While the idea for the Saturn School of Tomorrow was conceived long before the president's new initiative, it possesses many of the characteristics the president envisions in his America 2000 plan. Saturn officials say what works here might not work elsewhere, but they hope the visit will at least serve as an impetus for more innovative thinking in school districts throughout the country. Brad Woodard, KARE 11 News, St. Paul.
In all, 19 protesters were arrested. They will be charged with disorderly conduct.
While the president spoke, one Minnesota couple was on a tour of Air Force One. Arnold and Lorraine Schultz of Burnsville have connections. Their daughter, Becky, is a staff sergeant in the Air Force and for the last 5 years a flight attendant on the president's plane.
This is from her.
She brought this on the plane for you?
Yeah, she stopped and had it made up this morning and brought it out.
Becky, like all Air Force One crew members, is not allowed to do interviews, but her parents say she loves her job. So now you know whenever you see the president en route somewhere, you know there is a Minnesotan keeping the president company. We'll have more on the president's visit later in Earth Care. You'll see environmentalists protesting the Bush visit, and some people don't think the president is making the grade. Doctors in a laboratory continue to be the best detectives in the murder of a family in Wisconsin.
For weeks, we've been telling you how Rick Bernizer, his girlfriend, and 3 daughters disappeared. Their burned-out car was found with several bodies inside. Bernizer's son, Bruce, is in custody for the murders. KARE 11's Rick Kupchella is in Balsam Lake, Wisconsin tonight with new information on the case. Rick?
Well, Paul, there's a report tonight on its way to the sheriff here detailing all that a University of Wisconsin anthropologist has been able to piece together with the bones and pieces of bones found in this case. We know that all the bones put together account for less than 5 to 10% of any one skeleton recovered. Pieces found inside include a complete hand and foot bone, a pelvis bone, bones from the forearm, and teeth. The bones were sent in 2 shipments. The first pulled from the Bernizer's burned-out car. The second set is believed to have come from somewhere else. The sheriff will not confirm it, but it's possible the second set of bones may have been dug up by authorities on the Bernizer's property outside of Cushing. The pictures of the digging you see here were taken late Monday. The latest set of bones were taken to specialists on Tuesday. We're told that some of the bones in the second grouping were charred, still others appeared to be burned but did not have dirt on them. One specialist told me today that some pieces recovered have obviously received severe trauma. Tiny pieces of teeth, of individual teeth, have been found by investigators. A couple of the pieces of teeth that were found that were sent in this last shipment, we're told, were not burned, but they did appear to have dirt on them. Meanwhile, Bruce Bernizer, the 15-year-old son of the deceased family and the sole suspect in custody, has a hearing scheduled for 9 o'clock on the 30th of this month. There, the DA is expected to ask for him to be tried as an adult. Back to you.
So, Rick, although it's not being confirmed by authorities, I guess we can assume then that the family was murdered prior to the fire in the automobile.
That is certainly what it looks like, but it's difficult to jump to any conclusions here with the sheriff still stonewalling on any piece of information.
And Rick, what do you hear about anybody else being charged in connection with this case?
There certainly are lots of talk up here about the potential for other suspects. I can tell you that based on interviews that I've done with family members, with friends at school, virtually everybody that I've talked to insists that this job was too big to have been done alone, but the sheriff insists there are no arrests being anticipated yet at this point.
All right, Rick. Well, thank you very much. Now, the tragic story of 20-year-old Troy Quigley. He was a small-town Nebraska boy who came to Minneapolis to pursue a life in music. He thought this was the place to be, but last night, Troy was in the wrong place at the wrong time. KARE 11's Bernie Grace reports.
Troy Quigley loved the guitar and music, so he often went to nightclubs to listen to bands. Last night, he and his brother went to the Mirage. As they left the club, they walked into a hail of gunfire. Troy was shot and killed. He died in his brother's arms.
And he said my name faintly, and right around behind his car, behind my car. He was laying there, covered in blood, and I held him and told him to hang on. I was going to get an ambulance, and he looked at me, and his eyes didn't blink at all, and he groaned a couple times and sighed, and then he was gone.
Troy worked as a kitchen manager at a South Minneapolis restaurant. Today, the place opened late. Workers were too distraught about losing a friend they loved.
He didn't have a mean bone in his body. Just always happy. Never down about anything, you know. The last guy on earth you'd want something like that to happen to.
He was just a real good guy. And I guess it's true that the good die young.
This morning's shooting was the second in this area in the past week and second murder here in the past 2 months. It's a 2-block area with 5 bars in it. Area residents and customers say when closing time comes, it can get bad here.
1 o'clock, it's packed out here in the parking lot, and everybody has a few drinks, and a little anger starts sometimes.
After questioning several people, police have arrested 8 suspects, 4 adults in their 20s and 4 juveniles. Within the next couple of days, police expect murder charges to be filed against some, if not all of them. In Minneapolis, Bernie Grace, KARE 11 News.
There's a difference within the police department whether the shooting involved rival gangs. Some officers say the suspects were gang members. Others say there's no evidence to link them to gangs.
Another life was saved because of quick thinking by a 7-year-old. Brent Koska shyly accepted 2 awards of valor in front of his classmates today at Snell Lake Elementary in Shoreview. Brent called 911 when his mom had trouble breathing. Brent's mom says her junior hero was calm and cool under all the pressure.
Big day for him.
Yes.
Rain is coming down by the buckets in some parts of the area tonight. Later, find out if any severe weather is on the way.
And also, don't worry, be happy. Well, that's how the North Stars feel after last night's loss. We'll go live to Pittsburgh. But first in Earth Care, he's pledged to be the education president, but some say his loyalty to the environment is less clear.
That's a good one.
Every Jenny O turkey breast is hand-selected, fully cooked, and individually inspected.
Nice trim. Look at that color. I love this one.
If it's good enough, we register it with its own number. That's your guarantee of the leanest, juiciest turkey breast around.
About time.
Jenny O knows the secrets to great tasting turkey.
What do you mean you bought a camera at National Camera Exchange, Simpson? You're supposed to spy, not buy.
But their salespeople were so helpful, and, well, we don't even carry this brand, sir.
What about National Camera's prices?
They're fantastic, sir, and their selection makes ours look sick. And right now they're having their summer spectacular, so there's even more savings.
Like this easy-to-use Pentax SF10. This SLR has autofocus and built-in flash for only $299.95.
I may own a superstore, but from now on, I shop here.
Come to National Camera Summer Spectacular, going on now.
Watch carefully. What you are about to see is fast, very fast. When the Pennzoil Special is racing at 230 miles per hour at Indy, its engine needs all the protection it can get. And that's what it gets with Pennzoil. The same straight-off-the-shelf Pennzoil quality that goes in your car. On the road or on the racetrack, nothing performs like Pennzoil, because nothing protects like Pennzoil.
Pennzoil, ever since America learned to drive.
American Airlines proudly announces service to London's Heathrow Airport. And with our expanded service from across the U.S., American will become the #1 American airline to London. So come with us to Great Britain's first city on America's #1 airline.
Fire investigators are trying to figure out exactly what happened at the Hennepin County garbage burner, and that tops Earth Care headlines tonight. Several fire crews were dispatched to the burner after smoke began to fill the hallways there. No one was injured. And for months, there's been protesting over that proposed garbage burner in Dakota County. Tonight, another one is expected. This time in Rosemont, though, where it is expected some heated opposition will erupt during a public meeting focusing on an air quality permit for the proposed facility. Earlier, we told you about President Bush's visit to the Twin Cities today.
Mr. Bush was greeted with cheers from some folks, jeers from others, like environmentalists. Earth Care's Paul Douglas joins us now with more on that.
Everybody has an opinion, and the environment, well, you decide. President Bush certainly riding a wave of popularity these days, at one point enjoying a 91% approval rating. But now the ride is getting rough, with a wake being kicked up by environmentalists.
In his brief visit to Minnesota, the president turned his attention toward education, but a handful of environmentalists turned their attention toward him, joining the motorcade line, hoping President Bush would read their lips. Bush, they say, is bad for the environment.
For a president who is sometimes claimed to be an environmental president, we have to take a serious look at the fact that he wants to open up the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge.
This strategy will make us more energy efficient.
Recently, President Bush unveiled his national energy strategy, criticized by some environmentalists as an energy tragedy. The Bush plan includes opening up oil and gas exploration in Alaska. Environmentalists object. Increasing incineration. Environmentalists say no. Reviving nuclear power usage. Environmentalists again say no.
Free trade, not bad for the environment.
Issue is also being taken with the Bush administration's free trade initiative, now in the works with Mexico. The fear is that more U.S. companies will flee America and join other existing factories that now make up the maquiladora. There, they escape strict U.S. pollution laws. Already, evidence captured by undercover cameras of complete disregard for the environment. While President Bush is encouraging Minnesota students to make the grade, environmentalists want President Bush to take a closer look at his own report card.
And I suspect we could give him a letter B on his rhetoric. When it comes to real action, I think that this president ranks as a D-.
It's not all harsh criticism, however, for President Bush, particularly for the energy policy. Many commend the administration for bringing the energy issue to the front burner and call it a starting point. About the Mexican free trade issue, Congress is expected to vote on that coming up tomorrow. Turns out plants may do more than just give your decor a boost. A new study finds they could actually make the air you breathe in your home healthier. Plants and pollution, the story coming up tomorrow on Earth Care. Now, President Bush was invited to the Dakota County incinerator hearing this evening. He could not attend. The hearing and protest scheduled for Rosemont. His plans took him elsewhere. It's worth pointing out, too, this Mexican free trade deal, it's expected to just squeak through Congress over the next few weeks, and it's looking like Jerry Sikorsky, Jim Oberstar, and Senator Wellstone expected to vote against the free trade agreement. The concern is that companies are going to head to Mexico, cheap labor, more lenient pollution laws.
Some already have, yeah.
Yeah, a lot have.
A lot of manufacturing companies, yeah. Thank you very much.
You bet.
Here's a big shock. Gas prices are up just as families get ready to travel for the long Memorial Day weekend. Minnesota AAA says a gallon of unleaded gasoline is up almost 12 cents compared to the Easter weekend. A survey of stations also indicated that prices may continue to rise from 1 to 3 cents a week into the first part of the summer. Well, it certainly feels like we're in the thick of summer right now. A hot and humid forecast is coming up. Isn't it warm out?
And later in sports, find out how the Stars are planning a big comeback after losing last night.
He was laying there, covered in blood. And I held him and told him to hang on. I was going to get an ambulance. And he looked at me and sighed, and he was gone.
Last night, this man was killed by a stray bullet. It could happen to anyone. Innocent people are being gunned down in the streets of Minneapolis. Could you be the next person to be caught in the crossfire? The story tonight at 10 on KARE 11 News.
What's going on here?
We're making fresh pasta that's cholesterol-free.
Cholesterol-free fresh pasta? Terrific.
Yeah, it's from DiGiorno Fresh.
Terrific. But how does it taste?
Try it yourself.
Just like I thought. It still tastes as good as ours.
Better if you ask me.
And who asked you?
For restaurant taste at your place, DiGiorno Fresh.
Pretty woman, walking down the street. Pretty woman, the kind I'd like to meet.
Open here and let the good times rock and roll. Mercury Capri. Its quick 16-valve engine, independent suspension, 2+2 seating, and more means you got it made in the shade.
Mercy.
And sun. Come on, catch the fun of Mercury Capri at your Lincoln Mercury dealer now.
Oh, pretty woman.
Exquisite. It must be priceless. Actually, I hear it's worth $1 million.
No.
Kohl's 72-page $1 million sale catalog. Buy everything on sale now through Saturday. Save $1 million. Save big on all Little Tykes, Reebok athletic shoes and Keds, plus all athletic apparel and ladies' Cherokee sportswear.
I find the $1 million sale catalog more appealing.
Now more than ever, it's Kohl's.
Well, congratulations are due. Muffin is a mom. We told you about Muffin last week. She and her mate Will are peregrine falcons that have made their home on a ledge of the Multifoods Tower. From a monitor down in the lobby, you can see Muffin and Will's 4 chicks sporting a coat of white fluffy down. The newborns are only 2 ounces each. Peregrines, of course, are very rare birds. How would you like to have a monitor on you in the lobby of the Multifoods Tower?
No, thank you. If I was a bird, on the other hand, I probably wouldn't give a hoot.
I get it. Give a hoot. Okay, another holiday weekend on the way, and right on schedule, here come the showers and thunderstorms. This is degenerating quickly. Let's check Doppler, why don't we? Since about 2 this afternoon, you can see the thunderstorms that flared up right over the Twin Cities. Pretty quick cloudburst, reports of some small hail down around Burnsville. 1/10 of an inch in less than 10 minutes out at Midland Hills Golf Course. It really came down in a hurry. Those cells have been drifting to the north. Live Doppler now picking up some pretty good storms south of Lake Minnetonka down towards Shakopee, Jordan, and also north of Litchfield. No warnings in effect locally. There has been some very rough weather out towards Milwaukee and Madison. Tornadoes on the ground. A lot of tornado warnings south central and southeastern Wisconsin. And much of west central and northwestern Minnesota under a severe storm watch till 10 o'clock. More on that in just a second. First, a review of today. What a muggy day. 85, a free sauna out here right now. 68 the low, about 1/10 of an inch of rain in the Twin Cities. Cloudy skies, 78 degrees, some peaks of sun out here. South winds at 15, the dew point about as high as it ever gets, 69. The humidity 67, the barometer 2993. The barometer continues to fall. All right, one more radar close-up. You can take a closer look at those thunderstorms right now. Some activity from, just east of Hudson to just northeast of Ellsworth. All these cells drifting towards the north. Still a chance you'll be able to wedge in your outdoor activities this evening. Take thunderwear, though. It is going to be partly thundery. In fact, right through Saturday. No real break. You can see some breaks in the clouds, hazy sunshine spurting through, and where the sun came out, the atmosphere became very irritable, unstable. The biggest chance of severe weather tonight is going to be across the Dakotas. Check out the latest weather map, and you can see a severe thunderstorm watch. It does include Alexandria, Bemidji, Fargo, Moorhead. It does not include St. Cloud or the Twin Cities. The leading edge of slightly cooler, drier air is going to push into western Minnesota tomorrow. That's going to mean more strong storms, and I think a few will be severe once again tomorrow afternoon. There's that severe storm watch. 93 earlier today in Bemidji, 44 in Grand Marais. More showers and storms tomorrow. And this slow-moving storm is going to pass just to our west on Saturday, keeping us thundery for the next few days. Tonight's forecast, thunderstorms, some with downpours, 65 to 70, very muggy. Tomorrow, some peaks of sun, thunderstorms likely, some could be severe, 80 to 85. I think the wettest day in sight Saturday, off and on showers, maybe 2 to 4 hours of rain. Sunday, it starts to dry out, partly sunny, a nagging thunder threat. Monday, Paul and Pat, the nicer, sunnier day of the weekend, the way things are looking. It's a big weekend. We're starting our nervous twitches here, looking at the maps, wondering what can go wrong. We'll try to put a good spin on the forecast tonight at 10.
No sun on Saturday?
There may be a little, but it looks like a fairly cloudy, fairly murky, fairly showery day right now.
I have guests from Seattle, so.
Do you really?
They'll feel right at home. And it's been wet out there, so I thought it would be nice if it was sunny and warm here.
It'll get better as the weekend goes on, I think.
All right.
See you later.
Thank you. If the North Stars are going to win the Stanley Cup, they'll have to do it on the road.
Jeff Passold also hit the road. He's in Pittsburgh tonight.
That's right. We are live in Pittsburgh, and our coverage of the North Stars continues right after this.
Trying to say something. What are you trying to say? Don't rip off the tape!
Ouch! Let the Bar Wars begin. Next time on Cheers.
Wednesday at 10:35 on KARE 11.
Right now's the right time to get a tough, dependable Mazda truck. The most trouble-free pickup in America, backed by one of the industry's best basic warranties. With standard features not found on Toyota's base trucks, and with $1,000 cash back from Mazda, the B2200 is a great value. Don't miss this. Right truck, right deal, right now. At your Mazda dealer in Brooklyn Center, White Bear Lake, Minnetonka, Richfield, and Inver Grove Heights now.
Newsflash. A runaway meteor will hit the city in 10 minutes.
Cow! Let's get out of here!
Nonsense, we haven't eaten yet.
There's no time.
How about chicken?
When you want a good meal but don't have the time, there's new Minute Chicken. Tender breast fillets that cook in just 5 minutes.
Ooh, time to go.
Great chicken.
Can I leave the oven on?
Remember, there's always time for new Minute Chicken.
We bake pearls made of denture material in this blueberry pie to prove how powerfully Efferdent, America's leading denture cleanser, removes this tough stain, even in between. Efferdent, stronger than stains.
When you've got hemorrhoids, walking is hard. Sitting is worse. Anusol ointment has an anesthetic for the pain and itch. Does your brand? Anusol ointment has an anesthetic to take the hurt out of hemorrhoids.
Tonight's KARE 11 Sports is being brought to you in part by Kellogg's.
Baseball isn't always easy, or painless, or pretty. But with 2 boxes of Kellogg's Frosted Flakes or Kellogg's Raisin Bran, baseball's free. Just clip the vouchers from the box, redeem them for a ticket, and you're in the game. Choose from any of these exciting dates. See package for more details. So don't drop the ball. Catch a free game. But hurry, this offer's going. Kellogg's Frosted Flakes and Kellogg's Raisin Bran, your ticket to the game.
Time to head out to Pittsburgh right now. Jeff Passold is there. You folks arrived there today, right?
Yeah, I got in earlier this afternoon. The North Stars are here as well, and they're busy right now getting down to business, preparing for tomorrow night's game with a team meeting and a little bit of dinner. And the Stars did arrive here about an hour and a half ago at their team headquarters in Pittsburgh. The team, quite frankly, looking a little weary. But then again, you have to remember they could use some rest after playing 4 games in 8 nights, so they did not practice today. And there's word that the Stars may not have a pregame skate tomorrow. We'll have to wait and see. Of course, that big game last night. The Stars lost it 5-3. The series tied 2-2 now, with Game 5 coming tomorrow night right here in Pittsburgh. And we're going to take a look at highlights from last night's game. The North Stars struggling early. Mario Lemieux with the third of 3 goals for Pittsburgh, setting an NHL record. It was 3-0 at that point with less than 3 minutes gone in the game. In the second period, though, the Stars battled back. Dave Gagne, the rebound, past Tom Barrasso, and that made it 3-1. Then Dave Gagne with a beautiful feed of Brian Propp, who knocks it home out of the air past Tom Barrasso, and the Stars were back in the game, cutting Pittsburgh's lead to 4-2. A bit later, it was Mike Modano. A bomb from the point on the power play, cutting the Penguins' lead to 4-3. The Stars continued to pour on the pressure, but Pittsburgh hung on for a 5-3 win.
When you're in the Stanley Cup final, you just try to concentrate on what you have to do to win 4 games, and whatever happens after the 4 games happens. So for us, we just try to concentrate on the next game.
We won in Chicago 6-0 when we had to win, so I mean, we're not worried about it. We played 55 great minutes tonight.
We've been in the same situation in the Chicago series. It's even. It's a best of 3. We got to win 1 game in Pittsburgh. There's no better game than to go in and win Game 5.
And in baseball, another manager fired today. John Wathan released by the Kansas City Royals. He was replaced by assistant coach Bob Schaefer, and the Royals hope to name a permanent replacement tomorrow. By the way, the Royals are going to be in the Twin Cities for a series with the Twins this weekend. And the Cubs have a new manager. Former Major League catcher Jim Essien takes over for Joe Altobelli, who took over for Don Zimmer, who was fired yesterday. So the Cubs have Jim Essien as their manager now. Tonight in baseball at the Dome, the Twins hosting Texas. They continue that home stand, looking for a little revenge against the Rangers after last night's 6-5 loss. A 7:35 start at the Dome, 7:35 again. They back that start up, and Tom Reither will have the highlights at 10. And the NFL season is months away, but today in Minneapolis, they kicked off their annual meetings, the league did, for the spring anyway. NFL Commissioner Paul Tagliabue sharing the discussions with expansion at the top of the list. It looks like they'll add 2 teams in 1994 to the NFL, and they're also going to consider revolving Super Bowl sites, media access to the locker room as well. An NBA note as we go back to you. Pat Riley, the former coach of the LA Lakers, gets an offer from the New York Knicks today, 5 years, $5 million. Doesn't sound like he's real happy with that. He wants $1.5 million a year.
Well, you got to pay the rent.
He's got to pay for that stuff that he puts on his hair.
Mm-hmm. Did you have a chance to see the local papers there today, Jeff?
Local papers were ripping the North Stars for thinking about planning their White House parade and things like that. So they're all over the North Stars here.
Oh, are they really?
Yeah, they are. We'll see what happens tomorrow night. Still a young series.
Well, I hope they do it.
Yeah.
How's it? By the way, one more thing. How's the weather there? Because that bothered me.
It is hot again.
Is it really?
It is very hot again, and
that means the ice will be slow. And
the ice is affected by the weather here more than it is in Minnesota. And if it's like this again tomorrow, I'd say the temperature is in the 80s here for sure.
We got to.
They could have trouble on the ice. Okay, bye-bye.
See you later. That'll do it for us. We'll see you back here at 10.
Good night.
Just a reminder, our famous summer salads are back at Perkins Family Restaurants.
Charges of sexual abuse and drug use rock a top music group. Entertainment Tonight has the story next.
Your local Northland Ford dealers dare